There are two titles I want to use to label this video. And I guess I'll decide on what the title will be by the time the video is playing or is pushed out to YouTube. Okay. Without a doubt, in the world of acting, okay, right now, if there's the list of the top 5 Black American actresses, I would say right now, that are still alive, iconic, and killing it, Jennifer Lewis is on that list, despite the fact that I have no favorite actors or actresses, no favorite musicians in that industry, nothing. I don't even watch the Broadway, no Tony Awards, no SAG Awards, no Grammys, no Emmys. Back in the day, in my younger years when I kept up with that stuff, her versatility is almost unmatched. You could say that Viola Davis is there, and that would be a valid argument in terms of that being able to be versatile. See, what I don't agree with is this article right here. Now, I'm going to go into, because I read this entire article. So because she's one of the icons in our community, I have to be careful how I word this. But I won't walk on eggshells about it. So what I've decided to do in this conversation is to list 4 reasons why she's correct and 4 reasons why she's not. But I'm going to say, for the most part, I just didn't agree with this article. Okay. So if you guys have time and girls have time, get over to the Daily Mail and read that. Because trust me, it's a tabloid. I don't totally believe everything the Daily Mail says, but it's worth reading. Here are the 4 things that I'm going to say in small order that were said in this article. The 4 reasons why the way she feels about the situation is valid. Number 1, since Trump got elected in that first election around, let's say, 2016, I'm not saying that it's his fault that this is happening, but people are coming out, mainly people that are white, and don't take this the wrong way if this doesn't pertain to you. If it does not apply, let it fly. But I'm seeing entirely too many videos on channels of Black people that are both American and non-American born, particularly with the ones with probably non-American born, like Dumi Bilia and Nanya Cam and Star Trends. I'm not too sure if Star Trends is American or not, and Belinda Stronach. Okay, this number one I think has featured on each of their channels and is undeniable because they show you the clips as the receipt. So the number 1 reason, that the first one on my list, the reason that Jennifer Lewis is valid, is because in that article she pushes that Black people built the country. And now you have segments of white people coming out. Black people ain't never built anything. And for a while, I believed that until I researched the ancient civilizations like Great Zimbabwe, like Axum. It's amazing the things those civilizations have done. But common sense told me a little while ago that this country was built on the free labor of FBAs. See, the thing about it is Trump's election and the Make America Great Again, for those who have those racist leanings, have given them the leeway to come on out in public showing their faces and to say stupid stuff like Black people didn't build this country. And that's just simply not true. Okay. Number 2, she mentioned something about people staying behind the walls of their gated communities, without a doubt. Okay. Redlining messed us up. There were some people who just never wanted to integrate with us, and some blacks didn't want to integrate with others. Realistically, in a country full of people of different races, you can't avoid all races of people forever. Because the way in which you set this country up, or the way it was set up, everybody has to go somewhere, okay? So while she did not say redlining, the hiding behind gated communities implies that black people are not invited. And not all of us are associated with criminality. So I can understand where Jennifer is coming from with that argument. The third one touches a little more on the first one. Is that a whole lot of racist people with racist leanings have been showing their behind from the time Trump got elected until this current time. And even after Biden got in office, they've never truly let it go. It was inconceivable to me until this year that people would put on masks and hold neo-Nazi signs and march down in Nashville. A reasonable argument can be made that what they thought Trump represents gave them the boldness to do that, an indication that they're hiding who they are right now until they think Trump is back in power. Despite the fact that deep down, in my opinion, he would personally turn on them because he really don't care. Trump is about Trump, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just that you being his skin color doesn't make you immune from some of the arrogant things he says. Look at what happened to Rex Tillerson. Just saying. And a whole list of people who thought they were close to Trump. And they were white. But the thing about it is that there's a certain boldness that has come from people after his election that I personally feel that Trump did not fully address. Despite the fact that black unemployment was the lowest, and he did some good things, he funded HBCUs. We can't heal until that's addressed. And the fourth and final thing she mentioned is, well, if he's reelected, the blacks and Hispanics will be on the bottom. Historically in this country, that has been true. And if I'm being honest with myself, we know it's true. And there's an element to that now where people will start to discriminate probably against blacks and Hispanics again. Or will take liberties to start saying things, despite the fact that I personally don't believe that Trump cares about what these people say. It is the ideal of him and the ideal of things that he said or things he does not refute that gives power to that. And naturally, there's groups of black and Hispanic people who may feel that way based on things that happen to them, because you have to understand there are still people alive who are black and Hispanic who are still in their good cognitive memory and are smart enough to remember what this country was like around the civil rights movement, because they were just kids, but they had to grow up fast based on the racism they were exposed to. I gave her that much credit to be human because those things are true. This euphemism of making Trump Hitler, I just believe is extreme, okay? Let me give you the 4 points based on what I read into that article. The last one is exactly in the article. as to why, at the end of the day, I still don't agree with Jennifer Lewis. Okay. The first one is the border crisis. The illegals coming over. This should be an indication that the reason they're not stopping that crisis is because they need the illegal votes more than anything. As a people, our vote don't obviously mean anything to them. We have no political power in the United States. Oh, we have the National Black Caucus. Tell me one thing they've done that's significant that we can remember. Okay? That's going to go into point number 2 in a minute. Something I think they should fight for. But I think that they're stuck on that boule stuff. But let's stay to the border crisis. Y'all ain't going to tell me that they couldn't have fixed that by now if they wanted to. You're not going to tell me that Uncle Robinette couldn't have fixed that if he wanted to. If he wanted to fix it, he could have fixed it. You have to understand that it's not hard for us as a people anymore to see that they're allowing them to come over and giving them concessions like Eric Adams' New York, giving them debit cards to shop with, and then all these sanctuary cities. Why? Because they're going to need those people's vote in November, because they know most black people either will, a small fringe or bigger number will still either vote Democrat or sit this election out. Now you see some that were non-Trumpers that might actually go to Trump's side because they see the difference in the parallel in their presidencies. The border crisis equals Black America has woke up, and we now know you're allowing those illegals over here, even if it means they can squat people's houses, because you're doing nothing about that. But you can, because we're American citizens and they're not. We already know y'all don't care. And they're nothing but voter stock, but trust me. Once the election's over, both Democrats and Republicans will lead those people to the wayside to fend for themselves because they've already gotten that vote. That's just my prediction, though, and this is one of the reasons I think Jennifer is not right. Number 2, the one-sidedness of it all. And I hate to say this to her, but I feel like she's playing this whole, well, Trump is Hitler, so you can't vote for him. She did not yelling out say vote for Biden, but in telling people to not vote for Trump, she implied it. Now, because she's famous, a reasonable argument can be made that she's still using her platform to pigeonhole us and make us who are of her own race who don't vote for Biden. To be honest, my plan is to sit this election out. So I'll just put that out there. That's my plan for now. Your one-sidedness, sweetie, has blinded you from the fact that Joe Biden cannot give a coherent speech. His vice president is incognito. Don't nobody know where she is half the time. Just pops up out of nowhere, then goes and becomes incognito again. It allows you to skip over step number 3 we're going to go into in a minute. Why do we all have to collectively still climb the same mountain when we've all have different experiences now and the same things don't affect us all the time? I'm just curious, and let me give you an example about what I mean by the one-sidedness. There are 2 reasons why, as much as I respect and admire Jennifer Lewis on this one-sidedness, that I just don't agree with her argument. Number 1, if your Democrat Party really cares, where's our anti-lynch law? Don't worry, I'll wait, because you've had a Democrat in office for 4 freaking years and he hasn't passed that law. He gave us the crumbs off the table Juneteenth, and now Juneteenth is open season for corporations to make more money off of it than the black community ever could. The second thing, reparations. Because ideally, people who believe in reparations think the Democrat Party gonna set them free, right? See, you've had Robinette and Sleepy Joe, aka Sleepy Joe, for 4 years almost. Where's your reparations? See, we're sitting here talking about Trump is gonna put us all in camps for being black. If that were the case, your current president had 4 years to pay all of the foundational black Americans, us descendants of slaves, reparations, so that we would have the economic power to fight it. Why hasn't he done it? See, you say things like this, but you don't explain that. The number 3, okay, is the history of the Democratic Party itself. Trail of Tears. When Native Americans were displaced off their land. Displaced, I mean, not displayed, displaced. Who did that? Andrew Jackson, Democrat. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, despite the fact that Mexico sold the land, they were up against 2 powers, the United States coming from the north and coming upward to continue to conquer them, Spain. We got a steal on all that land, California, New Mexico, parts of Texas, or whole Texas, I think. 18 million at that time. See, what we know today is Hispanics have had that land many years before there was a United States. Guess who was president? James Polk of Columbia, Tennessee, Democrat. This helping the war on poverty. Lyndon B. Johnson, Democrat. I'll have them N-words voting Democrat for the next 200 years. Dixiecrats in the South who intimidated us going to the polls and tried to keep schools as segregated as long as they could. Don't get me wrong, we can go into Barry Goldwater because he's Republican, but I choose not to do that on this video. If you want to understand history, everybody, understand that these receipts are all out there. Even if the Republican Party does not work for you, please know your history and understand that the Democrats sure as heck ain't worked for you either. Okay, you can go look up the history of the NRA and all of that, arming slaves. You can go look up Reconstruction. You can go look up the radical Republicans. We all know these things by now. So this ideal that the Democrats are our allies is a lie. Now, let me get to the 4th point that she made, and I'm gonna use the exact quote that Jennifer Lewis said. You will not win because love is the answer. See, the reason this quote is problematic and messed up is because the sense of love you're discussing is a one-sided love. And by one-sided, I mean if the Democrat Party really loved us, where's that anti-lynch law? Because it's possible that one young black kid, I can't think of his name, was actually lynched. Where are your reparations? Why is it love only if it's coming from that party? When it's clear even our National Black Caucus doesn't have our best interests because they're too caught up in the boule. See, I know this video is going to tick some people off because how dare you attack one of our icons? The problem is that all of y'all try to tell us to pick one side. I'll be the first to tell you that I'm a black conservative, right? I can't say I'm going to vote for Trump this time. I'm a black conservative, not a Republican. But let's be honest, in the last few decades, the Republicans don't do a lot to outreach to black people. And when they do, they get their few little tokens and put them on Fox. Then the Democrats get their little tokens and put them on CNN. It's a never-ending spin that keeps us in the middle and keeps us divided instead of cleaning up our communities. If love is supposed to be the Democrat Party, with all due respect, Miss Lewis, quit telling us to sit the election out. Because so long as I don't get that anti-lynch law, I don't want to hear about the Democratic Party's love. And okay, let me ask you this. If indeed Trump is Hitler, how do you explain Jared Kushner? I mean, don't y'all all who voted for the current president not think it's a little cruel to have someone who's constantly falling, who probably don't know where they are? See, people don't think about this. It's not helpful that people of our race who have long-standing history in this country as FBAs try to guilt trip us into keep voting for Democrat Party when the Democrat Party is not a one-size-fits-all. Again, the first 4 points I listed, Jennifer is correct. These things have happened. We have to acknowledge them because it goes in the black community to this day, and it greatly halted us economically. It crippled us economically. I don't care who you vote for, because I'm not going to shun you either way, Democrat or Republican. But just think for yourself. And don't let these people who claim to be icons sell you emotional arguments on either side. Read The Ballad of the Bullet by Malcolm X and vote your best interest.